The other day, I went to my local Whole Foods and decided what I wanted for dinner. Then I saw the seafood counter and realized, yes, I want salmon tonight. As I looked down at the salmon I was about to buy, I wondered, where does that salmon come from? I recently went to Alaska to investigate a growing crisis for the state's fisheries and the people who depend most on them. What I found goes beyond the price of a king salmon fillet here on the East Coast. While I can walk a few blocks and buy salmon or pretty much anything else, the Alaska Native people in the villages I visited worry about whether they will even have enough food to eat this winter. Rural Alaskans rely on hunting and fishing to eat in places that are often reachable only by plane or boat, and where a loaf of bread can cost $15 at the store. But salmon runs in Western Alaska have collapsed, and regulators have responded by restricting subsistence fishing. In a region with a long history of colonialism, the loss of food sovereignty is felt keenly by indigenous people. Climate change rippling through the ecosystem is one likely culprit for the salmon's decline in Alaskan rivers. Besides warming waters, our own insatiable appetites also play a role. Factory trawlers with nets as wide as a football field scoop up £1 million of so-called bycatch, marine life that they either don't want or aren't allowed to keep, in their hunt for Alaskan pollock, the fish inside your filet-o-fish. When every fish counts, such waste is intolerable. Alaska is home to one of the biggest wild fisheries in the world, but besides the problems faced by subsistence salmon fishers, other iconic species like snow crab and halibut are under pressure. Fish reared in farms are now taking over our supermarkets. Farmed fish is about to overtake wild-caught fish for the first time ever, as the world's appetite keeps growing. Globally, we each eat almost 45 pounds of fish per year on average. That's up from 32 pounds since 1990, and there's an extra 2.5 billion of us too. As with so much that is manufactured today, the majority of farm fish comes from China. Alaska bans farming of fin fish. It does use hatcheries though to supplement its wild salmon population. Fish spawned in hatcheries are released into the wild and account for about 1 in 4 salmon caught in Alaska for sale. Now what does all this mean for you and what's on your plate? Aquaculture comes with risks. Stressed fish, fouled water, pests and disease, which can mean dousing with antibiotics and pesticides in response. But the damage we are doing to wild fisheries means rising dependence on fish farming. While Alaska's hatcheries aren't the same as fish farming, they also reflect a need to offset the damage that we do to natural ecosystems. A bit like carbon capture for the atmosphere. Alaska's indigenous fishing communities have for 10,000 years drawn from the waters only what they needed, confident that the fish will always be there for the taking. Their example, and the crisis they now face, is a warning to all of us about balancing our appetites with nature's capacity to sustain.